Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. We are on the patio with this segment is sponsored by Quincy Medical Group, and we have ophthalmologist Dr. Eric Seek with us this morning. Thanks for coming in so early.
Good morning.
We are talking 3 weeks from today. It's a big day, August 21st. It's a solar eclipse of 2017, and we need to talk about some serious stuff because this could be a once-in-a-lifetime event for many, many people. But why is it so important you not look at the eclipse?
What we're trying to prevent is a condition called solar retinopathy, and that's where the sun's rays damage the very important macula in the center of the back of your eye. Believe it or not, 90% of solar retinopathy in the world is related to eclipse viewing, even though it happens only 18 years or so. 90% of eye damage, solar retinopathy, comes from eclipse viewing.
Wow, and eclipses are rare.
Rare-ish. That's right. It's just people get tempted to look.
Yeah.
And I think especially in our area where we're going to have close to a total eclipse, but not a complete eclipse, there'll be a time when it's like a diamond ring, so just a little ring and then a bright hot light, and people will be tempted to look at the sun then, but that still could cause a serious injury to your eye.
So what happens if you do look at that bright light?
Well, it depends on how much exposure there is.
Okay.
So most people with solar retinopathy, if it's a mild exposure, will heal in 3 to 6 months.
Yikes.
But people that have a longer exposure or are more sensitive to the sun, such as children or people on certain medications, things like that, could have a permanent loss of vision from looking at the sun.
Wow. So there are safe ways to look at this thing because it's like one of those. It comes along it's so rare. I want to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also want my eyesight. It's very important. So what are some safe ways we can look at this?
Well, the most important thing is a good, proper set of eclipse viewers. You don't want to go cheap and get the cheapest one you can find. It needs to be a certain standard. And what we're looking for on the label is ISO 12312-2. So make sure it says ISO, labeled correctly.
Okay.
Make sure the manufacturer's name and address is on there. The American Academy of Ophthalmology only recommends 4 manufacturers for making these glasses.
Okay.
American Paper Optics, which is this company, Rainbow Symphony, Thousand Oaks, and TSE 17.
Those are the 4 recommended.
And you can get that information online at iSmart, the American Academy of Ophthalmology's public website. That's also on Facebook, too, for iSmart. So if you try these on, you'll find that these are very, very dark. Looking at normal things.
It's like blackout.
It's like blackout.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to know that regular sunglasses, even really, really dark sunglasses, are not sufficient to look at the sun.
So in these, and I laugh because you said don't go cheap, but these look, these are like old-fashioned 3D glasses that you would see, back in the 80s.
They are made of paper. They are disposable. They're meant for this one event, but the quality is in the lens. Okay,
and so with this, you can safely look at that thing happening.
You can safely look at the sun.
One quick question, because I have young kids, and I want them to experience this, but with a kid, they might be tempted to look through, but these are safe enough for them?
Yes, and you've got to be very careful with the kids.
Yes.
Their eye tissues are clearer, more sensitive to damage. They will damage from the sun's rays at a quicker point than an adult.
So maybe a little safer thing to do is do a little craft project then, like you
Correct.
have there.
You could do that. Just one more thing I wanted to mention about this. Just make sure that when you get them, they're not wrinkled, they're not scratched, they're not more than 3 years old. You just need to do a quick inspection of the glasses.
Okay.
This is a simple thing that I think anybody can make at home with just common things you find around the house. I just found this last night, just some cardboard or poster board. Cut 2 pieces of paper, then you just fold it in half, cut a little square out of the center, put some foil there, and then with a paper clip, just
literally
make a pinhole. So it's a pinhole viewer, and I want to be careful because sometimes it's called a pinhole camera, and so people might mistake camera with this. This is a pinhole viewer. And with that little pinhole, if we had the sun directly shining on us, you could aim the sun's light through that pinhole and reflect it on a piece of white paper you had on the ground.
So you're not watching the actual eclipse, you're watching it.
You're watching the reflection off the paper, and you can see the eclipse come across the reflection on the paper. And that's much safer. Okay. And if you want to be creative, you can punch lots of little holes in there and have
several suns.
Design, yeah.
All right, cool.
Design.
Well, Dr. Seek, thanks so much for coming in. Some great advice, and we're going to put this on our Facebook page as well. So if you saw some of this information, like, what was that website and stuff, you can rewatch it a little later after the show and get that safety information. Again, this segment has been sponsored by Quincy Medical Group. We'll be back with more KHQA This Morning after this.